Right after Christmas, 3 beautiful university students followed their boyfriends to a small party. Little did they know it would end as a December tragedy. This is a cautionary tale for young women today. Here's how it all began. It was a quiet morning as usual. Sarah woke up early, her heart heavy like a stone. She knelt down and began to pray. Her voice rose like a morning cockerel, calling her children to join her for prayers. Emily, come let us pray. Emily, her beautiful daughter, who was in her final year at the university, knelt by her side. After the prayers, Sarah turned to her. Her voice was sharp and firm. Emily, listen to me. Do not go out today, no matter what, she said, her eyes intense like the morning sky. But Mom, Emily began, but Sarah cut her off. Don't argue, Emily. Listen to your mother. Do you hear me? No matter the reason, just say no. Sarah repeated the warning again and again, her voice rising. Emily nodded. I won't, Mom, she promised, though her mind was elsewhere. Emily finished her chores and dressed for school. She came out and waved her mother goodbye, her steps light, like a bird hopping to freedom. At campus, Emily met her 2 best friends, Grace and Chloe. They stood by the cafeteria, dressed to impress. Oh, Emily, you're looking stunning as always, Grace teased, laughing. Yes, like a morning rose, Chloe added, her smile sparkling. The trio laughed, unaware that their day was about to change. Have you heard? Grace said, her eyes gleaming. Lectures are cancelled until after New Year. Oh, so I wasted my transport fare, Emily sighed, shaking her head. Don't worry, Chloe said with a grin. We won't let today go to waste. What do you mean? Emily asked, her brow furrowed. We are going to a party. Grace exclaimed, clapping her hands in excitement. Emily froze, her mother's words echoing in her mind. I can't, she said, shaking her head. I need to study. Come on, Emily, Chloe urged, leaning closer. It's just a small party, nothing serious. Come with us. No, I really, Emily started, but her friends cut her off. Don't be a killjoy, Grace teased. Leave a little. Reluctantly, Emily nodded. Okay, but just for a little while. The girls left campus and headed to the party, accompanied by their boyfriends. The venue was a house in a secluded neighborhood, decorated with Christmas lights that blinked like tiny stars. Music blasted through the air, and laughter filled the room. Emily hesitated at the entrance. Her gut tightened. Maybe this isn't a good idea, she said. But Chloe laughed, pulling her in. Don't be silly, Emily. It's just fun. Inside, the house was crowded with people, most of them strangers. Grace's boyfriend, Mike, handed the girls drinks. Relax, Emily. You're safe here, he said with a grin. Emily accepted the drink reluctantly, sipping it while scanning the room. She noticed a few familiar faces from campus but couldn't shake the unease in her heart. As the party carried on, the girls danced, laughed, and tried to enjoy themselves. But Emily couldn't stop thinking about her mother's warning. Maybe I should leave, she whispered to Chloe. No way. Chloe said, grabbing her hand. The night's just getting started. Suddenly, Mike's friend, Felix, announced, let's take this to the next level. We've got a surprise upstairs. The group cheered and followed Felix up the stairs. Emily hesitated. Her heart pounded. I don't think I should go, she said. Don't be boring, Emily. Grace said, rolling her eyes. It's just a game. Emily reluctantly followed them upstairs. The room they entered was dimly lit, with candles flickering in the corners. Felix produced a small box and opened it, revealing a set of pills. Everyone take one, he said with a sly smile. It's just for fun. Emily stepped back, shaking her head. No. I don't do drugs. Relax, Emily. It's harmless, Chloe said, already popping a pill. Grace followed suit. I can't believe you're acting like this, Chloe said, glaring at her. You're ruining the vibe. Emily's unease turned to fear. She turned to leave, but Mike blocked the door. You're not going anywhere, he said, his tone dark. Panic surged through Emily. She pushed past him, running down the stairs and out of the house. The cold night air hit her like a slap, and she ran as fast as her legs could carry her. Hours later, Emily sat in her mother's living room, trembling. Sarah hugged her tightly, her eyes filled with relief and gratitude. Thank God you listened to your instincts, she said. The next morning, Emily received a call from Grace's cousin. The news was devastating. Grace, Chloe, and the others had been rushed to the hospital after overdosing. Emily's heart broke as she listened to the details. Her friends didn't make it. Sarah held her daughter close as they mourned. This is why I warned you, Emily. Sometimes, a mother's intuition is a matter of life and death. The days that followed were a blur for Emily. She attended the funeral services, where the weight of loss hung heavily in the air. Chloe's parents were inconsolable, and Grace's family kept asking why things had to end this way. Emily couldn't stop replaying the night in her mind. The laughter, the music, the candles, it all seemed so innocent until it wasn't. One evening, as Emily sat in her room staring at a photo of her and Chloe, she said softly, "Why didn't I pull you back with me? Why did I let you convince me to stay?" Her mother walked in, carrying a cup of tea. "Emily, you can't blame yourself for their choices. You made the right decision when you listened to your instincts. But what if I could have stopped them?" Emily's voice cracked. Sarah sat beside her and placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "You can't save everyone, Emily. Sometimes, people are on paths you can't change." The words lingered in the room, heavy but true. Emily knew her mother was right, but the pain of losing her friends was unbearable. A week later, the university announced a mandatory counseling program for students affected by the incident. Emily reluctantly attended, sitting in a circle with others who had lost someone that night. "I wish I had spoken up more," one student said. "Maybe if we all said no, none of this would have happened." Emily nodded, feeling a pang of guilt. But then, the counselor spoke up. "It's natural to feel guilt after a tragedy, but remember, you can only control your actions. What matters is what you do moving forward." Those words struck a chord. Over the next few weeks, Emily threw herself into advocacy work on campus. She organized awareness programs about peer pressure and the dangers of substance abuse. Her mother was proud, but she could see the toll it was taking on Emily. One evening, Sarah said, "You're doing good work, but don't forget to take care of yourself too." Emily nodded, realizing that healing was just as important as helping others. Months passed, and though the scars remained, Emily found purpose in her advocacy. She became a voice for those who couldn't speak anymore, her friends among them. Standing on stage at a campus-wide event, Emily took a deep breath and said, "I lost my friends because of one bad decision. If my story can save even one person, then their loss wasn't in vain." The crowd erupted in applause, and Emily felt a sense of closure. She had turned her pain into power, ensuring no one else would have to endure what she had. That night, as Emily sat with her mother in the living room, Sarah said, "You've grown so much, my dear. I'm so proud of you." Emily smiled. "I wouldn't have made it without you, Mom. Your warnings saved my life." And for the first time in months, Emily felt a sense of peace. Over the next year, Emily's story became an inspiration, not just on campus but beyond. Her advocacy expanded, reaching schools and other universities. She often spoke at events, sharing her journey, the choices she made, and how those choices saved her life. Emily wasn't seeking fame or recognition, but her story resonated with many. Letters poured in from students, parents, and even strangers, thanking her for her courage. One letter stood out. It was from a young girl in secondary school who wrote, "Your story gave me the strength to say no to a bad situation. Thank you for being brave." Tears welled in Emily's eyes as she read it. Chloe and Grace's memories lived on in her work, and their lives had meaning through the change they inspired. On the anniversary of the tragedy, the university held a memorial. A garden was dedicated to the memory of Chloe, Grace, and the others who had lost their lives. Emily was invited to speak. Standing by the blooming flowers, she addressed the crowd. "We honor their memory by learning from their story. Let this garden remind us of the beauty of life and the importance of our choices." After the ceremony, Sarah hugged Emily tightly. "You've made me so proud. You've turned your pain into something beautiful." Emily smiled, the sun warming her face. For the first time, she felt like she could finally let go of the guilt and focus on the good she could do. Life slowly returned to a new normal for Emily. Her advocacy work continued, but she also allowed herself to explore her passions, photography, traveling, and writing. She documented her journey in a memoir, titled A Turning Point, which became a bestseller. People from all walks of life found strength in her words, and the book became a catalyst for important conversations about youth, peer pressure, and resilience. One day, as Emily and her mother walked through the memorial garden, Sarah said, "You've created a legacy for your friends, one that will outlive us all." Emily nodded. They deserve to be remembered, not just for how they left but for how they lived. As they stood by the flowers, a butterfly landed on one of the stones. Emily took it as a sign, a message from Chloe and Grace that they were at peace, and it was time for her to embrace life fully. From that day forward, Emily made a promise to herself, to live with intention, to cherish every moment, and to inspire others to make choices that would lead to brighter futures. Years later, Emily, now a renowned advocate and author, reflected on her journey. She often visited schools, sharing her story and encouraging young minds to think critically about their decisions. Her voice had become a force for change, and through her, Chloe and Grace's light continued to shine. Sitting in her office one evening, Emily looked at a photo of the three of them, taken just days before the tragedy. "I hope I've made you proud," she whispered. And in her heart, she knew she had. Thank you for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the story. If so, please like the video, comment on what you have learned from the tale, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more captivating tales just like this one.